Well, hello again folks, and I hope you're still all fighting fit out there. This piece was filmed a few years ago, hence the reason why I'm still using my old Theoben MFR. And yes, I do miss it now and again, as I really like the bolt action on it. But the crown I have at the minute has a far superior trigger and a much nicer stock. The field I'm in is directly behind where I live, so I don't even have to drive to the permission. I like trying to hit this ground a time or two through the year, after having to phone the farmer one morning after finding a ewe with her eye pecked out. It was a bit of a grisly sight. Thankfully the farmer came down, picked her up, and apparently she made a full recovery, although with one eye. So I'm currently setting out a dead crow in a cradle for a decoy, and this dead rabbit which I had in a old fridge to keep fresh. But it seems to be more or less frozen solid, so I'm having a bit of difficulty shaking the guts out of it. Okay, now with that all done, it's time to get into the hide, because it sounds like the world's waking up around me. Okay, as I said at the start, this was back when I was still using my FAC Theoben MFR in 22 caliber, running at just over 30 foot-pounds of energy with 21 grain Bisley Magnum pellets. And the scope I had fitted to it was a Bushnell Tactical Elite 2.5 to 16 by 44. Plus, this is pre-scope cam days, so back to zooming into the target with a camcorder sitting on a tripod beside me in the hide. The first couple of birds to show up were actually a couple of rooks, and I'm not really interested in them, as they don't really seem to harm the sheep, though if it was a field of barley I was sitting over, things would be a lot different. Then, after a while, my true target appeared, the hooded crow, or a greyback as we call it in Northern Ireland. But they weren't happy enough to settle yet, and flew off to the trees along the far hedgerow. Bit too far for my liking for an air rifle really. But it wasn't too long before a few more appeared, and this time they were more than happy to land. It's about a 40-yard shot, and I think I just hit him before he decided to fly off. It took a wee while before the birds returned, and they were quite wary this time, landing away out to the left-hand side, a wee bit further than I'd like to shoot. But they weren't happy and didn't stick around for long. Thankfully though, it wasn't too long before another bird took an interest, and it pitched in at about 30 to 35 yards away. Man, with the Tacticam setup I have now, I would have had the shot off long ago. But that's the first one down. before long, another couple of birds appeared, but again they were being very wary and landed well out to the left-hand side. It didn't stay long, but however, another bird landed just 30 yards in front of me. That's number 2. So far, I just left the shot birds where they lay, as there was so much activity in the area anyway. The local magpies were starting to take an interest, but I decided to leave this one alone, as I didn't want the sound of the shot putting off that crow in the background from landing, as I'd much rather have a shot at it than the magpie. After a while, once the ruckus settled down, another greyback crow did land, but again well out to the left hand side, so I let him walk in closer before I attempted a shot. It walked into about 40 yards away, but seemed very skittish and might fly off at any minute, but I did get my opportunity for the shot.
Nuts, shouldn't have missed that.
Yeah, at the time I thought I missed it completely, but after looking at the footage, you can obviously see a puff of feathers and hear the thud of the shot, so I honestly don't know what happened, as the bird did seem to fly off quite strongly. I had a bit of a look for the bird but couldn't find it, so thought when I was out there I might as well set the birds I've just shot up as decoys to see if it'll help bring any more birds down. Again, the first birds on the scene were a couple of rooks, but as I said, I'm not really interested in shooting them, and they rarely land beside a dead rabbit anyhow. After a while, I noticed the local magpie clan were slowly making their way down the field from my right hand side, but they were in no hurry to get to the bait. No matter though, as a few minutes later, the hooded crows made another appearance. Ah, stay on camera, would ye? That's number 3, and the noise must have pulled one of the distant magpies in. Hang on a minute, that's not nerves, that hooded crow's actually still alive. It's not exactly one shot, one kill, but at least I put it down this time. And it's not over yet, as another magpie from the group decides to see what's going on. Well, I think you can tell by the sound of the racket that another hooded crow has appeared, and it doesn't sound happy. But, unlike its mates, instead of dropping in on the ground, it decides to land in the trees and the hedgerow in the background again. However, the magpies have brought in reinforcements, but I decided to let them go. Maybe it was a good decision, maybe not, as that hooded crow's sitting up in that distant tree, and again, I'd rather have a shot at it than the magpies. And, after a while, once the magpies had cleared off, it finally drops in. It's a bad shot, as the bird was moving as I took the shot. So I had to switch to my left hand shoulder to get the angle on it. It was sitting about 50 yards away to my right. And managed to get a good follow-up shot. Or, so I thought at the time, as I ended up having to leave the hide and chase it down across the field. But it was accounted for. I don't know whether it was bad marksmanship or just being impatient, but that should have been an easy first shot.
Well, let's look at the crime scene. 1, 2, 3, 4 grey-backed crows, and this fifth one, which gave me my exercise and a nice run across the field. I still think he was well hit. The pellet looked as if it come through just below the shoulder, so well, it only broke the shoulder and the wing, and didn't penetrate the heart. I do not know. Thought I pulled off a nice left hand sided shot to put him down, only to see him up and running about the field. So had to chase him down before he disappeared into the hedge, but he's accounted for. And we've got 2 magpies as well. No bother with them. Both heart shots through the shoulder. And again, that one there. This one again was hit hard. You can see where the pellet went in, but for some reason I had to put another one, I think even 2 in him. Maybe my first backup shot didn't hit the mark, I doubt. Dead rabbit bait, even though it was flipping frozen solid this morning. And this was the first bird. I thought I hit him in the back. That's where I was aiming. But I see there's a hole on the top of his head. I can't really explain that. I know he moved as I squeezed the trigger, but I didn't think I shot him through the head. But anyway, that makes 5 hooded crows and 2 magpies. Set them up. Things were going really slow after the first 3, so I set this bird up as if it had been resurrected and was fighting with the original bird I'd set up as a decoy. Sometimes it gets them wound up again, and even after a wee while it did seem to work, and I got the 2 magpies and another couple of hooded crows, so job done. Sheep's lazily grazing away over there in the sunshine. Thankfully they didn't bother me this morning, but the farmer will be happy. The hooded crows are 5 less than what they were.
I always like tidying up the field after I've finished, because some farmers just don't like dead birds laying about the grazing fields, as they don't want it getting into their silage. Well folks, I hope you enjoyed that and seeing the old Theoben back out again. I think the reason I shelved this for so long was because of those one or two questionable shots. I know we all take pride in putting our quarry down quickly and cleanly, but I think we all recognise that sometimes, no matter your best efforts, just things don't go your way. And all you can do is stay calm, look for a quick follow-up shot, or leave the hide and dispatch your quarry manually, if you know what I mean. Anyhow, thanks for watching folks, take care and look after yourselves, hey.